Today I want to focus on some of the frustrations that men have when they use their vacuum erection device, whether it's an Erecate, a Posi-Vac, or some other device purchased elsewhere. We want you to be successful. We want you to have years of success using your vacuum erection device. And I want to address 5 of the most common concerns worldwide that men have with their vacuum erection device. Now, the first place I'll start is some men will say that they are unable to get a good vacuum draw using their device. So I want to cover that. When you receive your device, the first thing you want to do is make sure the device is actually working properly. So best way to do that is get the pump itself, whether it's an automatic with a button that you press, or it's this manual version, any variation thereof. You want to make sure that the pump itself is drawing strong vacuum draw here. And I do that by placing the vacuum on the palm of the hand. So I know by doing it with this particular device, I've got a good vacuum draw. So we know the pump is working. Then the next test is to see if I'm getting a good vacuum seal with the pump and the cylinder together. And you can see that I just mounted this here. You can twist in with some of the devices. This is called a slip device where it just slips right on there. But I'm going to do the same test. Palm of the hand. I want to squeeze the trigger somewhat aggressively here just to test this out. And you can see here, now I've got a good seal in this space here. I've got a good seal here in the palm of the hand. I know the pump is working. The cylinder's working properly, everything's functioning as it should here. Now that's the easy part. The challenge comes in when you are taking this same practice and you're applying it to the body in places where you can't really see what you're doing. So I think the most important thing I can tell you is, first of all, always use the lubricant that comes with the device, or a water-based lubricant always with these devices. But make sure that you're lubricating the inside of the cylinder here. You're also using the lubrication here on the perimeter, almost creating a gasket or a seal here when I apply this to the body. So I've got good lubrication here, and then it really comes down to placement of the device onto the body. So when I do that, probably the best way to do it here is to use this model, and I'm going to apply the cylinder here and just right under the base of the penis. And then I want to bring this up sort of heel-toe kind of approach, where then I've created the seal above the penis, and I've got a seal there. And then when you're testing this at the outset, you want to test it nice and easy, good and easy squeezes. You'll know immediately if you've got a good vacuum seal that way. Now, one thing I'll encourage you to do is if you have a lot of pubic hair, just make sure that you trim that down. Think about hair as a place where air can travel between the hairs. So if you've got a lot of hair down there, you don't have to shave it. You just want to trim it. Make sure you got a good space there so you can get a good vacuum seal. So that's probably the first frustration men face with the vacuum erection device. Easy to work through. We know the pump works. We know we've got a good seal here with the cylinder. We know that we've got a good seal here against the body. And this is really the most troublesome space, is here, getting it applied to the body. So that's number 1. All right, number 2, some men struggle with their scrotal tissue being drawn into the cylinder. So you can imagine that I've got the penis here, I've created the vacuum seal, but then the tissue underneath here also gets drawn into the cylinder when I apply the vacuum. So how do you work around that? Probably the most important step is to make sure that you're positioned correctly with the device on the base of the penis. So rather than positioning here, I don't know if you can see that, you can see how that could be problematic. So what I want to do is approach sort of at an angle so that I'm just right here nestled in here on the bottom or the base of the penis, and then I tilt up, and then I begin to apply the vacuum erection device. So if you're doing that, and you're doing it that way consistently, but you're still getting tissue drawn in, there are a couple of tools that might help. One of those is the insert that goes inside the cylinder, and you can see just by doing that, I've reduced some of the space and opportunity for scrotal tissue to be drawn in. Make sure that when you use these, you use ample lubrication to get started, but then you can see how, because I've done that, I've created less space perhaps for the scrotal tissue to be drawn in. And if that doesn't work, we also have here at 10 Medical, you can get it on the website, I'll put a link in the description, the scrotal shield. Now the scrotal shield, you want to place the penis through the shield before you create the vacuum seal. So I'm in this position. You can see now that there's not a lot of space for the scrotal tissue to be drawn in. I've created essentially a dam that keeps that from happening. So then again, the same principles apply. Apply the cylinder to the base of the penis, tilt up, and I've created, with that scrotal shield, less opportunity for scrotal tissue to be drawn into the vacuum erection device, into the cylinder. Number 3, when you get started with the device, sometimes If you're like me, you start too aggressively. And what happens is when you're drawing the penis into the cylinder, we sort of expect that the vacuum draw is applying only to the head or the glands of the penis and is drawing it straight forward. And that's the only draw that we have. It's just sort of drawing it this way. So we think we can be aggressive. It's not a big deal. But I would encourage you to recognize that when you apply the cylinder to the body, to the base of the penis, you're not just drawing this direction. You're also drawing this direction. So the vacuum within the cylinder is drawing symmetrically the entire penis, not just this direction, but this direction. So what happens for men is when they get started, the head of the penis, almost because it's being drawn in all directions, gets bogged up in this space. So the thing I would encourage you to do, first of all, is use that water-based lubricant on the base of the cylinder, on the entire penis, and around the perimeter here, and then just draw in ever so slowly. Take your time, let that blood flow from the heart to the head of the penis, but just take your time with it. And don't get too aggressive. Nice and easy squeeze and rest. Nice and easy squeeze and rest. And if you reach that place where it is so uncomfortable that you just need to stop, you can always press this button here, and that will ease the vacuum off a little bit, maybe allow some of this erection to subside a little bit. If you're in this space, maybe it will go down this way. If you have to break the seal, come back again. If there's any lesson I think we learn the quickest is we've got to take our time with this device, and by doing so, may be able to avoid this damming up procedure here at the opening of the cylinder, and instead we can draw a little bit more this way, just taking our time as we do that. All right, number 4. You've been successfully building erections, lifting off the base of the cylinder, then you pull the device away and you lose the erection. The tension rings that come with each of the devices, whether it's the Erecade device or the Posivac device, there are tension rings that come with it. And you'll see as you look at them that they are different diameters on the inside. And I've got a couple of videos I'm going to link to right up here, but I want you to take a look at those and see whether you bought an Erecade device or you're using a Posivac device. The sizing of these tension rings are important. Now, if you've built the erection and you're ready to then apply a tension ring onto the body, again, those videos will help teach you how to do that. But the one thing I want to tell you is if you're building erections and you've applied the tension ring, but then even with the tension ring, you're not able to hold on to the erection, it is entirely possible that the diameter on the inside of the tension ring is not small enough. So if you start with a tension ring, for example, with an Erecade system, that's 0.875 millimeters. You may need to go to smaller to hold that blood in sufficiently. So I encourage you to just go through that process. Your instruction manual that comes with each of the devices will teach you how to progress and get more intense with your tension ring. Now, we had one gentleman who asked me, how long should I, if I apply the tension ring and I'm wearing it, what's a realistic expectation for how long I should be able to maintain that erection? Pre-orgasm, ejaculation, how long should it last? And I don't have a single answer for every gentleman who's out there using the device and using the tension ring. We do say never wear a tension ring for longer than 30 minutes. We want to get that off and get new blood into the penis. But that sort of assumes that it's entirely possible that some men have lasted as long as 30 minutes. So the real question is, in your mind, how long is long enough? If you're lasting 3 minutes, you've built the erection, you've applied the tension ring, but it only lasts 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes, but you want it to last longer, at that point, I just want to encourage you, again, to look at the progression and see maybe the tension ring I'm using is not applying sufficient tension to hold that blood in. All right, number 5, and this is a short one, but some men experience a bit of a change in the penis, the appearance of it, the feel of it. When they use the vacuum erection device, they build the erection, they apply the tension ring onto the base of the penis. Some men have described feeling the penis feels cooler than they expected it to. So just think about the fact that you're not getting new blood in there, and one of the reasons we say never wear these tension rings longer than 30 minutes is because we want to get new blood into the penile tissue. So that's one thing. You may experience a different temperature of the penis. And then the second one is sometimes men experience, when they apply the tension ring, a hinge effect. So essentially think about this tissue as being erect, the tissue on the other side of the tension ring as being flaccid, the root of the penis. So you have, with this tension ring, essentially you've created a hinge. Now what that means, first of all, you should potentially expect that, but you should also adjust some positioning if you're with a partner and you're just trying to find that comfortable position that works for the two of you. All right, like I said before, our goal at Tim Medical is that you be successful with your device if you get one. If you have challenges that you're facing, questions that I didn't cover in this video or any of the other videos that we've made, if you look through the instruction manual, you're experiencing something that feels unique to you, you can write to us. Always do our best to answer questions about the device, the tension rings, the lubricant, anything else you've got questions about. education@timmedical.com. We don't offer medical advice, but certainly can talk about the device itself and how to use it properly and be successful.